The people of Belize not only appreciate the beauty of the sea, for thousands of self-employed Belizeans, the income that supports their family comes directly from this natural resource. These businessmen and women wear sunblock instead of suits, drive boats not SUVs, and they dive into their jobs with pride.
I've been fishing for 17 years now, man. And what made me decided to become a fisherman is because it's easier for me to work out here and make my money without someone else trying to tell me when to do it or how to do it. I'm not working for $25 a day in town. I'm working for what I can make here, you understand me? And for the day I could make over sometimes $200, $300 a day, so it's better for me out here.
I get into fishing when I small, 4 or 5, and I could know myself, I got to see fishing in my pa. My pa fisherman for him barn and build boat, no? Now I 29, and I 4 or 5, that a good 20 odd years, I know myself to go to key. Make my life living off of it.
Last year, fisheries ranked 3% in terms of GDP, with an annual earning of $20.5 million, which puts it in the top 5 foreign exchange earners for Belize.
The Fisheries Administrator for the Belize Fisheries Department, Beverly, appreciates the significance of the industry to the economy and the lives of the coastal communities.
It employs over 3,000 fishermen directly, and when we carried out household survey to estimate how many people directly benefit from fishing, we came up with a figure of a little over 15,000 people.
My brother work one boat, he has he, which he mind his family have he, his girl, and 5 kids along with that. So that's 7 on one of the boat right there. Have this other guy, JT, he work, and he and his girl, and he take care of her 2 kids, that 4. So he have 4, my brother has 7. Then you got this other guy, Arden, who work for me. He has his girl and his 2 kids, that 4 more. Then you got my another brother, Erwin. He work on the other boat. He have his girl, and 5 kids where he take care also. So that's 7 more right there. Me, I got me, my girl, and 8 kids along with that. Then my pa, he and my ma. I got this young man, Chris, who work along with me. He got he and a girl. I also my next lead nephew work with me, and my next lead nephew Bart work with me also.
Dozens are self-employed in the Aldana family operation in Belize City, a municipality that has different work opportunities. But in the north, there are coastal communities that heavily depend on the sea for their livelihood. At the northern tip of Belize, Thomas Montejo and the men of Sarteneja enjoy family time as they await the opening of lobster season. It will be weeks before Montejo and others see their families again.
I've been living here for about the majority of my years. From the age of 13 years, I came all the way from Kyle, start fishing, you know. And I've been living with my wife for 37 years here in Sarteneja with her, you know, and have all my family. Well, Sarteneja is just a fishing village, you know. Majority of guys, when they come out from the school here, they go fishing, you know. There is nothing else to do in this village more than fishing, fishermen. Some 13 years they start fishing, go out, you know, making their life all the way to fish for their family, making their houses, whatsoever. Everything comes from fishing out of this village, you know. Well, this is a credit union that we have here now. Before we have the credit union, we used to see it hard, difficult before, because we didn't have how to send our money to our family from Belize City to the here.
St. Francis Xavier Credit Union serves the people of Curzon. On May 1st, 1999, it opened a branch in Sarteneja to serve the people of the surrounding villages, including Copperbank and Shunush. Branch manager Fidel Santoya has been there from day one.
And at the beginning, it was good. People were saving, There was business, as far as I can say. I was there. As a matter of fact, I've been working there for the past 15 years as manager. And I saw a lot of people saving. Business was good. People were, at the beginning they were saving because you have to save first at the credit union. And after 3 months, you have an opportunity to borrow, which I started to borrow. And I can say they used to pay well. Some of them used to pay before the time. I think the fishery industry, it has given the people of Castaneda and Copper Bank a better standard of living.
It's the opening of lobster season. The sailboats are packed. Castaneda fishermen have made their way beyond the reef and onto the Glover's Reef Atoll, a very important protected area and fishing ground managed by the Belize Fisheries Department. Over the last few decades, more people have turned to the sea to stake their claim, much like during the US's gold rush. The veteran fishermen admit that dramatic increase of fishers means there will be less catch and thus less income for their families.
The only difference I see is because there is more fishermen in our time. In our time we had a couple of fishermen, and the lobster for me is the same. But it's getting scarcer for the amount of fishermen that there is. There is maybe over 1,000 or 2,000 fishermen. In my time there was only about 25, 30 fishermen.
Right now the life is too much expensive. So I think it's very important to give some help to the fishermen like that right now.
Inside the processing area of cooperatives, it's not just about lobster and conch. It's also about the additional jobs that are the spin-off of the product delivered by the fisherfolk. The quality of the product delivered by the fishermen for export is amongst the best.
This is the reception area. All product coming in through the facility must come and inspected physically. In this area, for the lobster tails, it's 4 ounces and above. And for the conchs, it's 3 ounces and above. We make sure that the carapace length have 3 inches from between the horns to the first segment of the tail. Must have 3 inches and above. What we are doing in this area is that we are looking for buried females. If at any one point the females have buried eggs, what we do, we throw them back towards the sea. The reason we do that, we want to do a sustainable fishing.
One of the areas where the fishing industry provides many jobs is at the cooperative plants. Employees, mostly women, process the catch.
We have 2 troughs, each trough containing at least 500 pounds of conch. What we are doing, we are removing the excessive slime. Once we have at least 200 pounds here in our troughs, in our tanks, it's being weighed in 5-pound blocks, in 5-pound boxes.
On a regular day, the facility processes at least 3 tons of conch on an 8-hour work shift.
This is a 7 ounces tail. All tails that you guys see in the box are 7 ounces, which is from 6.5 to 7.4 ounces on a range. And finally, we have our shipping inventory room, where we keep all of our master cases packed. And this room has all of our inventory ready for shipment.
While these fishers are at sea, life continues without them back in the villages. The burden of running the home is left in the hands of the spouses. Rosa Tepaz's wedding picture hangs proudly on her wall. But close inspection of her eyes reveals a deep pensive fear every time her husband goes fishing. Tepaz has lost family members at sea.
Pues yo no quisiera que mi hijo sea pescador porque pues ahorita lo que estamos viviendo, que cuando mi esposo se va de viaje, Yo tengo ese miedo que no regrese otra vez, como lo que está sucediendo en el mar, que matan a los pescadores, que los asaltan, los amenazan. Y yo quisiera que él tenga un estudio y sea alguien en la vida de algo de un buen trabajo, pero no en el mar, porque yo ya tengo ese temor, ya tengo ese miedo de que lo que ha sucedido con sus tíos, que no regresaron más, nunca supimos qué pasó de ellos y pues ahorita su papá va a trabajar, pero yo tengo ese miedo que un día no vaya a regresar también como ellos.
When a hurricane come, a fisherman can go and the traps get lost. You don't see nobody come upon you and say, oh, well, I give the fisherman so much money. Fish there, no, just a matter, one of the problem is fuel or one of the problem. Fish might need the close, but you could get fish if you go live far out. But the cost of the fuel expensive. Then when you get the fish sometimes, a problem for get it sell. You look to sell that the Vernon Street Fish Market or the seaside and too much people there sometimes and not enough consumers there. You got fish back up and you can't sell. It might take 2 days to sell the fish. By the time you get the money, you have to split it into 2 days to survive for you and your family. So, you know, if you had a market where you could come in and give a good price for your fish, you go there and sell all your fish wholesale for a good price where you could make a living off of, it would be better.
In addition to fuel costs, the increased numbers of people who have taken to the sea has taken a noticeable economic toll on the northern villages. At the Sartaneja branch of St. Francis Xavier Credit Union, demand for loans have decreased, and it's not because the people no longer need credit.
The people are reluctant to borrow because they know that maybe they cannot afford to pay their loan, and maybe they have other financial commitments. I am saying that things are not running that good in Sartaneja.
Antes daba buen backpay, ahora ni eso, ahora no puedes comprar una lancha en un backpay. Tienes que trabajar 2 años, 3 años para conseguir una lancha si lo prestas al banco.
The open access nature of the fisheries is being reformed to a managed access program, which is being piloted at 2 sites, the Glover's Reef Marine Reserve and Port Honduras Marine Reserve, which is eastward of Punta Gorda town.
It's a system that involves several factors, including a licensing system, boosting of enforcement, data collection program, but it specifically grants access to fishing to customer users to the general use zone of the Marine Reserve. When we speak about traditionality, we try to focus on the people who make at least 80 to 85% of their livelihoods from fishing. That is, they would focus on lobster, conch, and to some extent finfish as well.
Pero ahorita con eso del managed access sí está funcionando acá en Globas, porque ya no entran las otras lanchas de otro lugar a trabajar acá, que solo los que trabajan aquí.
It has greatly improved compliance. We've had about 75% reduction in infractions during the first year, and that has increased to probably about 85% thereafter.
They want to mind the reserves, they have to bring more ranger.
Digo, para mí, están trabajando bien. Los fisheries trabajando bien, pero como les digo, allá no pueden cuidarlo allá. Ahí necesita una casa arriba o vaya un fishery especial para arriba. Porque allá de las pangas de afuera, de Honduras, de acá, Cailuna, todos vienen a chambear arriba. De noche vienen, tarde la noche vienen a chambear.
Managed access could go beyond just the fisheries management to include issues with national security. It could address the issues of illegal fishing by setting clear boundaries and by the process of increasing patrols with access only traditional people, only Belizean nationals would be able to access the resources that we have available.
The lure of Glover's Reef for unlicensed fishers can prove to be too tempting. One of the tools that the department uses for enforcement is the observation tower.
For instance, let's say that we are outside the dock and we'll see something that seems to be a vessel. We'll go up in the tower and use our binoculars so that we have a better view. And we will confirm if it's a fishing vessel or if it's a diving vessel. We will later use our radios and radio the guys that are conducting the patrol so that they go and take a closer look on what is going on.
There is another eye on the sky as enforcement efforts are being equipped with conservation drones.
For fuel sake, let's say, we can just deploy the drones and conduct a patrol around the area to see that everything is okay, and if we see any type of activity that do not seems to be right, well, we can always take our vessel and go and check the area.
The manager of the Glover's Reef Reserve is Alicia Eck. Technology and the use of a program called SMART are being integrated into the daily patrols and checks of the fishermen who utilize the atoll.
Before we go out on patrol, we need to put in who's going on patrol and what our objectives are. So at the end of the year, we could look back on that data to see if we met the objectives. When we're out there in the field, when going to each boat, we record who the captain is, who's on board, if we collected the data sheets, and if not, why not, what the reason from the fishermen were, why they didn't fill in these log sheets. And we also document on the tablet if we find illegal activity. It was piloted at Glover's Reef, but the Fisheries Department is trying to implement it at all the marine reserves that it manages.
We are very happy that we've been able to now look at more cost-effective measures like the technology that we're bringing into enforcement, the drones, using the SMART system. A lot of our enforcement work now is really based on intelligence that comes in from our users and other stakeholders that are out there.
Nestled in Placencia is the Southern Environmental Association SEA. SEA co-manages two areas, the Laughing Bird Key National Park along with the Forestry Department and the Gladden Spit and Silk Key Marine Reserve.
Monitoring is done mainly by the rangers from the Laughing Bird Key National Park and the Gladden Spit area. Other than that, we've got an enforcement unit, and that does the entire area, the Southern Barrier Reef Complex, which includes monitoring in the Sapodilla Key areas right up approximately to South Water Key, front of Dangriga. And the others work in the Laughing Bird area, which is a completely no-take area. For Laughing Bird Key National Park, for example, we find that there are conch almost in abundance. You can see lobsters there on any day. The fish stock has increased. And so if we were to monitor or actually have no-take zone or probably have longer closed seasons, it just may contribute to increasing the stock, which at the end of the day will benefit all fisher folks in the entire country.
Though NGOs and the government are working on better management strategies of the marine area, the fishermen themselves do not always get along because some see the fishing grounds as their turf, and it has created disagreements.
I used to work out of Glover's, but it's hard now that you need to get the managed access for you to go out there, you understand me? They say if you have been working out there for a couple years, then you could have the chance of getting that license. I have applied for about a couple months and I haven't got mine, you understand me? It's a nice place and I would like to work there because out there the product is more than around here. If we have this area to for ourselves and they start and they only have to pass, then yeah, better for we big man.
There are also concerns about fishers from other countries who venture illegally into our waters.
People that are from next countries, Guatemala, Honduras, that come and work whenever the seasons are closed. When we Belizeans don't fish, they still come and fish.
The Nature Conservancy is one of the NGOs that are trying to make a positive impact in the coastal communities. They had met with 60 fishermen across the country that represented various associations and cooperatives, and that working group came up with an economics alternative and fisheries diversification plan.
Fishers essentially felt that they needed to have some alternatives or some form of diversification that would enable them to actually maintain or improve their livelihoods. So the plan actually incorporates multiple sectors, including governance, policy, capacity building, institutional strengthening. But the real crux of the plan has been the development of sort of the business and marketing component that looks at specific projects and programs across the country that would enhance the livelihoods of fishermen.
TNC is working very closely with the Fisheries Department to get this plan endorsed.
If we're able to implement the plan successfully, we're looking at having roughly around 1,300 fishermen and community and members of communities benefit from the various projects and activities that are being outlined in the plan.
In the south of the country, the Toledo Institute for Development and Environment, TIDE, is engaging the southern communities in Belize. TIDE has also worked along with communities to develop projects to supplement the income of fishers.
We were able to access funding for 17 chicken rearing projects that went to families from Monkey River, Punta Gorda, Punta Negra, and Forest Home.
It's easy, like for me, because I do coconut, so I use the trash for the chicken and my pigs.
I can say already that it's a very successful project, and we hope to continue to access funding to benefit fishing communities.
Placencia Fishermen Cooperative has partnered with the Southern Environmental Association, the Belize Fisheries Department, the Ministry of Fisheries, and COMPAC for a seaweed project. It does not only supplement the income of fishers, it has actually removed a few fishers from the industry, including a fourth-generation Placencia fisherman, Lowell Japs Godfrey.
I am completely 100% involved with seaweed farming. I am no longer harvesting lobster, conch, or fish. We have a site here at Little Water Key, and then we have a site at Hatchet Key. And now we have in northern part of the Gladden Spit Reserve. We come out once a week and do our monitoring, cleaning the ropes, and replanting as we go along. Our 50-foot square farm consists of 11 ropes. Each farm will give you approximately 100 pounds every 3 months.
The cooperative sells it for $30 per pound. It's used in smoothies, soups, facials, body wraps, and for an entrepreneur who grew up on the peninsula, she uses it for her soap business in the USA.
Our products are stamped with our Belizean logo, and one of the things that we also do is do a private label. I am the daughter of a fisherman, and I really understand the challenges that are being faced right now by the fishermen. It is critical that we continue to support the seaweed farmers in Belize, throughout the country of Belize, because as we lose the business of the fishermen and the past approaches of the fishermen, they will continue to be able to be successful. They will continue to be successful using the skills that they have learned through the fishing industry.
The areas that are being used by the Seaweed Project are now protected. According to the coordinator of the National Replenishment Zone Expansion Project, the establishment of replenishment zones is critical to the long-term viability of the fishing industry.
Typically in a marine reserve, you'll have a general use zone, which allows commercial fishing, recreation, tourism activities. But the type of fishing also is restricted in terms of the type of gears that you're allowed to use. Then we have our more strictly protected areas, such as our conservation, no-take, or replenishment zones. No type of fishing activities are allowed in these areas. Then we have also our wilderness or preservation zones, where no type of activity whatever are permitted in those particular areas. For Belize, these strictly protected areas make up about 3% of our territorial sea. Now that's important to take into consideration, given that these strictly protected areas are the ones that have been shown or proven to have the greatest positive impact when it comes to replenishing depleted fish stocks, rebuilding degraded ecosystems as well.
There is growing understanding of the benefits of replenishment or conservation zones and the need to maximize their advantages.
It works because, in one way you can see, like I said, the lobster comes from one end to outside. So it works in that condition. Because if there was no reserve, all those lobster was going to be caught already. So in one condition, the lobster is there, and from there they work out. We know from there it work out. Because when we fish on the line or out of the line, sometimes we come back on the same patch and we see lobster there again.
These areas are important because it actually serves as a refuge for these marine resources. These are usually areas that serve as nursery grounds, feeding grounds, areas that allow for reproduction to occur, so that in the future there are still organisms, fish stocks and so on available for our future generations to use. Because it results in you having a greater quality and quantity of fish that you're able to harvest as well. The quality improves, as well as the effort that you need to utilize to harvest these organisms also decrease. If you look globally, there has been a decrease in fisheries, in terms of the amount, the quality and quantity that you're able to harvest. Ranging back from the 1980s, there's this global decline. For example, when you go to the fish markets, is it getting more difficult for you to get your more high-value species such as your snappers, your groupers? Are you getting more low-value species such as your mackerels?
Mind take a little peep now, you can pass. Everything clear. Everything clear.
The best part of my job is going out and talking to the fishermen and having them say, "You're doing a good job. You're helping us." And I think when the fishermen are satisfied, we're satisfied, because we are here working not only for them, but for the future fishermen of Belize.
And so we have currently a draft Living Aquatic Resources Bill, a piece of work that we're very much proud of, very comprehensive work, and that would only strengthen our ability to ensure sustainability and viability over time.
The future is great. The policies that we as fishermen and the government are utilizing is going to secure a future in marine life in Belize.
There is more that we can do as Belizeans, including refusing to buy product that is undersized and out of season. We are at a critical point where all of the partners are working together towards a sustainable fisheries sector. The use of replenishment zones to increase fish stocks and revitalize ecosystems, enforcement measures using drones, the SMART system, alternative livelihood projects, and the overall increased capacity of the Belize Fisheries Department help to manage and conserve our waters for future generations.